is therefore removed to his private apartment where no one can see him. Actually, during this period, renovations are made on the body of the Jagannath deity. This is called Navayoganam. During the Rath Yatra ceremony, Lord Jagannath once again comes before the public. Thus, for 15 days after the bathing ceremony, Lord Jagannath is not visible to any visitors. Has anybody been to Puri during Rath Yatra? Has anyone seen Alalana? You've seen? I've seen also. Previously, well, at least I was never allowed to go inside the temple, but the Brahmins were quite nice, and they would allow you to stand just at the door of the temple, and they would even hold the lights. It's sort of like some distance inside, but the Brahmins were quite nice, and they'd even hold the lights so that you could see the form of the deity inside. And last year in Kartik, when we were on Prikram with His Holiness Govinda Maharaja, when we were in Puri, we were informed by Madhavananda Prabhu that some devotees had done something bad at Alalanath. And maybe they tried to force their way in or something like that. And so now the Brahmins, they don't allow the devotees to come on the property any longer. That's a special temple. Alalanath is a deity of Narayan, and he's standing there with 4 arms. But Acharyas explain that form of Alalanath is the form of Narayan that the young ladies of Vrindavan saw at the time of the Rasa dance. You know, there's the story that Krishna, he vanished from their association during the dancing performance. And then the young girls, they've been looking for Krishna, and they came across Narayan. You read that in Chaitanya Charitamrita? I think in Chaitanya Charitamrita. They came across Narayan, and the young girls, they basically just saw Lord Narayan, and they said, Namo Narayan. They said, have you seen Krishna? And Narayan basically put up 4 arms and said, he went that way. And the gopis, they were already so distraught with separation and the madness of separation, they just started running, looking for Krishna. And then Srimati Radharani came, and when she was approaching, Narayan was standing there. But because Srimati Radharani has been described in Chaitanya Charitamrita as Mahabhav Swarup, meaning her form is the manifestation of Mahabhav. Then when she was approaching Narayan, Narayan's 2 arms were sort of like going inside of his body, and his crown was turning into a peacock feather, and then Narayan would make some super effort to get those arms out again. And Radharani was looking at Narayan and said, I know you, Narayan. You're that cheating son of Nanda Maharaj. So that's Alalanath. And there's another nice feature of that temple, if you go there, that Lord Chaitanya was there one time having his darshan with his devotees, and Lord Chaitanya, he fell down unconscious on the stone. And because Lord Chaitanya's body also is Mahabhav Swarup, then Lord Chaitanya's body melted the stone. So if you go to that temple, you can see the actual stone, and you can see the places where Mahaprabhu's body melted into it. Did you see that when you were there? You can see like where his arms were, where his head was laying, so forth and so on. So it's a very inspirational place to see. So when Jagannath would get sick, then Lord Chaitanya, he would run to Alalanath because Lord Chaitanya, he couldn't live without seeing Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained for some days at Alalanath. In the meantime, he received news that all the devotees from Bengal were coming to Jagannath Puri. When the devotees from Bengal arrived at Jagannath Puri, both Nityananda Prabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya greatly endeavored to take Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back to Jagannath Puri. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally left Alalanath to return to Jagannath Puri, he was overwhelmed both day and night due to separation from Jagannath. His lamentation knew no bounds. During this time, all the devotees from different parts of Bengal, and especially from Navadvip, arrived in Jagannath Puri. After due consideration, all the devotees began chanting the holy names congregationally. Thus, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind became pacified by the ecstasy of chanting Hare Krishna. So, not seeing the Lord, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not being able to see the Lord created a great state of despondency. And it was a tough situation, because on one side the Lord is totally beside himself in his despondent state, and on the other hand, there's a huge congregation which has come from Bengal that wishes to see the Lord. So then, because they were wise Vaishnavas, they were thinking, how can we pacify the Lord's mind? And then they began kirtan. And we know that Narottam Das Thakur has written Golokera Prendan Harinam Sankirtan. That all of the activities of Krishna from the spiritual world, they have come to this world through the agency of Harinam. So when Lord Chaitanya's heart was burning in separation, his loving devotees would satisfy Lord Chaitanya's heart through Harinam. And then in the later years, Lord Chaitanya would have his two very, very confidential associates. They would stay with him in the evening. One was Swarup Goswami, who was his secretary, and then Srila Ramananda Roy, who he had met when he first started traveling south from Puri after sannyas. And they would stay with the Lord all night long. Lord could basically keep himself occupied during the day. If there were devotees there, going to the temple, seeing Jagannath, somehow he could keep his mind engaged and keep his mind busy. But the night was a real challenge for him. It was a big challenge because he just started sinking into despair, feeling separation from Krishna. So then his associates, they would basically see Lord Chaitanya, and they would hear the topics he was speaking about. And sometimes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would speak in ways that were considered to be like madness, because he would be speaking as if he were a young girl feeling separation from her lover, different topics like that. And at that time, Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, they would pick up verses from Shastra, and they would sing that to Lord Chaitanya. And then when Lord Chaitanya would hear those verses from Shastra, and his mood would become fortified, or